Welcome to a new day full of energy and joy. Wishing you all a truly wonderful day. Today, join me as we explore the exciting developments in the latest episode. Will Teo Ka take care of herself at home after being discharged from the hospital? Don't miss out. Stay tuned to find out how the story unfolds. Today, Teo Ka's health had clearly improved, and she felt much lighter and better after the days spent in the hospital. She quickly made the decision to be discharged, her eyes shining with joy at the thought of returning to her familiar surroundings. But immediately, he spoke to her with a tone both determined and tender. "Don't rush to go back to your place. I want to take you to my house, where I can take better care of you. Besides, little Han is already there, so let me look after both you and the baby." She hesitated slightly, still worried about unfinished chores at home. But the chickens and ducks haven't been tended to yet, and there's still a lot of little things to do. "I think it's more convenient to go back to my own house." He smiled, his eyes full of certainty. "I'll come over to your house to help with all that. I also need to bring some clothes for you and little Han. Besides, I've already taken Han to my house so both of you can rest comfortably for a few days." Her heart warmed, feeling his sincere care, and she gently nodded in agreement. On the way to pick up little Han, he decided to stop by the construction site that had been severely affected by the recent floods. The scene before him made his heart beat faster. Vast stretches of land were seriously eroded, piles of soil and rocks scattered everywhere, and floodwaters still lingered in some low-lying areas. He stepped into the site's operations office, where an employee was waiting to report on the situation. "How has the construction site been these past few days?" he asked, his voice urgent yet calm. The employee replied hesitantly, mixed with worry. "Sir, due to heavy rains and flooding, the water from nearby streams rose excessively, causing severe landslides in many areas. We have had to temporarily halt construction to ensure safety. We are waiting for the water to recede before conducting a thorough inspection of the ground." He looked the employee straight in the eye, sternly. "Safety must be the absolute priority. I understand the pressure to meet deadlines is great, but under no circumstances should anyone's life or safety be compromised. Once the weather clears, your team must carefully inspect everything before resuming work." He paused briefly, then continued in a more serious tone. "If you need additional manpower or materials, report to me immediately. Every decision must be approved and strictly controlled." The employee nodded, feeling the clear leadership and heavy responsibility. "Yes, sir. Currently, we have implemented temporary reinforcement measures to prevent further landslides and are preparing response plans for when the water recedes. We will report to you in detail as soon as there are updates." He placed a hand on the employee's shoulder, his eyes full of trust. "Very good. Keep in regular contact and avoid any mistakes. This is not just a construction project, but the safety of the entire team. Thank you all for your efforts." The employee smiled softly, gratitude clear on his face. "Thank you for your care and guidance. We will do our best." He left the operations office, his mind heavy with thoughts of responsibility and pressure. Yet alongside that, he felt some reassurance, knowing there was a dedicated team who understood the situation well. He returned to his car and continued on to pick up little Han, the place where he and Tio Kwa would rebuild peaceful days and care for their little family. That afternoon, when CEO Hung drove to pick up little Han and brought her home, he went up to the living room where Tio Kwa was sitting, waiting for him and Han. Her eyes showed a flicker of worry, but were also full of hope. During her days in the hospital, she hadn't been able to see her daughter often, and the longing for Han grew stronger in her heart. As the door opened and Han stepped in, her eyes sparkled as she looked around. She immediately recognized her mother. Before saying a word, Han hurriedly ran to Tio Kwa and hugged her tightly with her small but loving arms. "Mom! Mom!" Little Han babbled, her voice sweet and shy, as if wanting to express all the feelings bottled up inside. Tio Kwa felt her heart melt. She gently held her daughter, tears of happiness quietly streaming down her cheeks. "I'm here, my dear. I missed you so much." CEO Hung stood nearby, his eyes warm as he looked at the mother and daughter. He softly said, "Now our family is reunited. Let's rest and take care of each other together." The three of them walked into the living room and sat close together on the soft sofa. The afternoon sunlight danced through the window, creating a gentle, warm atmosphere just like the love in their family. He and she began telling little Han about the day's happy moments, from funny situations at the construction site to everyday stories that made the whole family laugh out loud. Han's laughter blended with her mother's gentle voice and his deep, warm tone, creating a joyful symphony of their little home. Tio Kwa leaned lightly on his shoulder, feeling complete safety and love. Little Han obediently sat beside them, her eyes lighting up every time her parents shared a story. At that moment, all the exhaustion from the past days seemed to vanish, replaced by sweet happiness and overflowing love in their small home. A few days after being discharged, Tio Kwa felt much healthier. That morning, she woke up early, eager to help him with some house chores. She quietly stepped into the living room and began tidying up, wiping every small corner of the house. The room gradually became cleaner and neater under her careful hands, but as she bent down to wipe the floor, a sudden dizziness struck. Her vision darkened, her body lost balance, and the spinning sensation nearly caused her to collapse. Her heart felt tight for a moment. Just then, the front door opened. CEO Hung had just returned from work. Seeing the scene, he immediately rushed over without hesitation, caught her, and gently helped her back to bed. "Tio Kwa, are you okay? Tell me what's wrong," he asked anxiously, his voice trembling with worry. She only managed to shake her head lightly, trying to regain her composure. He helped her sit down on the bed, gently covered her with a blanket, and took out his phone to call the family doctor who had been supporting her throughout this time. He quickly went out to the living room, speaking urgently into the phone. "Doctor, has the doctor arrived yet? She just experienced dizziness and nearly fainted while doing housework. Please come as soon as possible to check on her." Within minutes, the family doctor arrived at their home. He hurriedly opened the door to welcome the doctor and led them to her room. "Hello, doctor. Tio Kwa just showed signs of dizziness. Her vision darkened and she almost collapsed. I'm very worried." CEO Hung explained the situation in detail. The doctor nodded, looked at her, and asked, "How are you feeling? Do you have headaches, nausea, or persistent dizziness?" Tio Kwa replied weakly, "I just felt dizzy, blurry vision, and a little loss of balance, but no headache or nausea." The doctor gently checked her blood pressure and pulse and asked about other accompanying symptoms. This condition could be caused by overexertion while your body hasn't fully recovered yet, or temporary cerebral anemia. I will perform a more thorough examination to determine the exact cause. CEO Hung stood nearby, anxiously asking, "Doctor, do you need to do any additional tests? Should she rest completely?" The doctor smiled reassuringly. "For now, she should rest absolutely and avoid strenuous activity. I will prescribe medication to improve cerebral circulation and provide nutritional supplements. If there are any abnormal signs, you must take her to the hospital immediately." After the examination, the doctor stepped outside to discuss privately with CEO Hung about how to care for and monitor Tiu Ka's condition in the coming days. CEO Hung listened attentively, nodding determinedly to protect her health by all means necessary. He returned to the room, gently stroked her hair, and said, "Don't try to do anything anymore. I'll take care of everything. The most important thing is that you get better." Tiu Ka looked at him, her heart full of gratitude and love, resting her head on his shoulder, silently thankful to have him by her side, caring for her every moment. Fortunately, after the doctor's thorough examination, CEO Hung breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that both she and the baby in her womb were fine with no serious issues. It was just that Tiu Ka's body was still weak from the earlier fainting episode, so she needed plenty of rest and recovery to fully regain her strength. He gently helped her into the room, laid her down on the soft bed, and softly stroked her hair with eyes full of love and concern. Tiu Ka, tired, closed her eyes and gradually breathed more evenly, feeling more at ease with him nearby. Not wanting her to rest alone in the room, he went down to the kitchen to personally prepare a meal for her, something he had never imagined doing before. He carefully washed the rice, prepared vegetables, and began cooking a pot of porridge slowly and attentively. Every step was done with great focus, and sometimes he glanced around the kitchen, reminiscing about the busy days of work, but also the loneliness that came with it. The hot porridge gradually released a sweet aroma that filled the small kitchen. He smiled, feeling warmth in his heart from an unprecedented sense of peace. After a while of hard work, he carried the pot of porridge upstairs. Tiu Ka felt the tenderness and dedication. Her heart softened with deep gratitude toward him. She tried to smile, still weak, but seeing him do everything for her made her feel stronger. Noticing her lingering anxiety and worry about the unfinished chores at her home, he gently placed his hand on her shoulder to reassure her. "Don't worry, I've personally arranged and taken care of everything at your place. You don't need to concern yourself anymore. Just focus on resting and getting well. I will take care of everything for you." She looked at him, her eyes full of trust and emotion. Over the past days, she had been restless because she couldn't manage everything herself. Now, hearing his words, it was as if a great burden had been lifted from her shoulders. But he didn't stop at words. CEO Hung went directly to her house, personally chopping vegetables, mixing feed, and feeding the chickens. Simple tasks, but hard and new to him. Experiencing farm work for the first time, he clearly felt the stark contrast between the stressful corporate world and the simple, genuine life of the countryside. He remembered sitting beside the chicken coop, watching each hungry chicken eagerly pecking at the food, his heart filled with a simple yet profound joy. Hands once used to holding pens and signing papers now swiftly chopped vegetables and stirred feed, feeling a connection to everyday life he had never known before. He smiled softly to himself, thinking, "Perhaps doing these little things is also my way of caring for her, for our little family." The small house became more peaceful and warm than ever. While she rested in bed, he quietly worked behind the scenes with all his heart and deepest care.
Cô đứng dậy, bước đi trong phòng, cố gắng tìm kiếm bóng dáng anh. Bỗng dưng cánh cửa hé mở, Hùng bước vào, để bé hạt trên tay. Nhìn thấy anh, tim cô như được dịu lại. Một làn sóng nhẹ nhàng, an ủi tràn về. Cô vội bước đến, đón bé Han vào lòng. Ánh mắt nhìn anh đang đầy yêu thương và tin tưởng. Cô thở dài nhẹ nhõm, như trút bỏ được bao nhiêu lo lắng bấy lâu. Từ giây phút ấy, những ngày nằm viện không còn là chuỗi ngày u ám, ám ảnh như trước. Trải lại, cô thấy mình cảm thấy nhẹ nhàng, tràn đầy sự yêu thương, đong đầy ấm áp. Tình cảm chân thành của Hùng cùng sự quan tâm của mọi người đã tạo nên một không gian an lành, giúp Tiểu Ca dần quên đi những nỗi đau, những ký ức buồn. Giữa bệnh viện lạnh lẽo, cô cảm nhận được sự sống mới đang trỗi dậy trong tâm hồn mình. Mỗi ngày trôi qua, cô không còn cảm thấy đơn độc và sợ hãi. Thay vào đó là những cảm giác được che chở, yêu thương như ngọn đèn dẫn đường. Tình yêu ấy như ngọn đèn dẫn đường giúp cô mạnh mẽ bước qua những khó khăn, hướng về một tương lai tươi sáng, hạnh phúc hơn bên cạnh những người thân yêu của cô.